If you guys can, give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen correctly. It's just say Mountain Ridge High School, Pride of the West. Wonderful. Okay. Well, just want to introduce you here to a bit of our program. We call the program the Pride of the West. It is something that's been one of the, if not the most, recognized groups within our district, in our community, in our state, and nationally. We're the largest organization at Mountain Ridge High School. Historically, we have in between 150 and 210 students. Here today, we saw just over 170 students. So really, really happy with the turnout. And we want to encourage many, many folks to be involved in the band. We're a big tent. So we have students that are crazy talented in performing. We have folks that are just beginning and everywhere in between. So there's a place here for everyone. We also are a social network for the students. They probably saw that today where there's a social bond that happens with the kids, and that promotes academic success. So our students have every single student in the band here, or not every student, I should say, but there is a student in the band who's aced every single course at Mountain Ridge High School and is a really gifted tutor on that. So we want, first and foremost, for folks to be academically successful. We have every year, not only the majority of the folks at graduation in the front row, which would be, the top 1%, but just really strong academic success throughout our program. And I think a lot of it does come from freshmen coming in and then, in essence, standing or sitting right next to, the valedictorian of the class, or in this case, this year, the person who's going to be speaking at graduation, folks that are going to UCLA, going to ASU Barrett, and Honors College at U of A, going to Yale, going to Dartmouth. That's where kids are headed after they're done with this program. So being in a social network that prioritizes academics is just a great way for us to partner with you at home so that we help the students out. What I would ask for parents not to do is to use band as a consequence. So, oh, well, you didn't do that homework, so then that means you can't go to that game or that performance or that rehearsal. If there's an issue with the students academically, let us help. Let us partner with you. Have the students come early to practice, and we can partner them up with, again, one of those students who is, can really help tutor them in the band. So partner with us instead of using it as a consequence. Of course, we have a very disciplined group of kids. I trust them implicitly in terms of that we have a strong program and a strong culture of excellence. It's not to say that they are not high school teenagers. Of course they are. But we really feel strongly, and I feel strongly, that the kids we have here are some of, if not the best kids at Mountain Ridge High School. We have a big team, and of course there's a camaraderie that goes along with that. The word excellence we use a lot since that's our motto for the band. Our goal is to do whatever we're doing at a high level of excellence, or what we say is excellence everywhere. So the way we coach the kids today is they need to treat the relationships, so have excellence in the relationships with their teammates. They need to have excellence in the way that they have a relationship with you as the parents, to have a great amount of respect for you, obviously with the adults and the staff that are on board. And that excellence goes to the way that we treat our facilities, and the way we treat the instruments, and the way we treat our musical preparation for shows. So it's a great organization to be a part of, and I'm glad that you're here. In today's meeting, we are going to go through just the policies and the procedures and the expectations of the program, where students can find information, and where you can find information. We have a handbook. We use a couple different programs online, a program called Charms, Canvas, which is our infinite campus online, Fanfare, and then Slack. Talk about how we can best communicate with each other, the schedule at a glance, and our attendance policy. We're also going to talk through band camp, because the band is going up to Prescott at the end of July, the fees that are involved with that in the season, all the different forms that are out, and then what's expected of you as the parents and also the students. And then there will be a time at the end where we can have open dialogue where there's some questions, okay? Since we're on the Zoom meeting, I'm going to ask that you rename yourself in Zoom. This will just help us see who's here. So if you're new to the Zoom experience, which most of us now are Zoom pros, begrudgingly from the last year, you'll click on your name on the participant list, and then you can rename yourself. So If you're a parent of a freshman, you'd put freshman parent and then your name. If you are a student who's on the call, who's a freshman, you put freshman trumpet and then your name. So let's just take a second now and rename ourselves according to those settings. And I just did that for myself as well. All right, so I'm looking at the participation list here. Freshman parent, freshman parent, very good. Junior parent. Yeah, this is working out really well. Thank you guys for doing that. Junior sousaphone, very good. Yeah, thanks for doing that. And that just helps us get an idea of who we're talking to and what the folks are on the call. For our band, like I said, my name is Aaron Vogel. This is the band director. We have a large staff of adults that help us teach the students both during the school day and in our rehearsals, like the one we had today on Saturday, and our rehearsals in the evening. We have what we call caption heads for the marching band. So they are folks that are in charge of various aspects of the marching band program. Our program coordinator is Ryan Springler. He's the one who designs the show. So what is the visual elements of the marching band show? What do the costumes look like? What are the props going to look like? What's the storyline or the through line in terms of that? We have a head woodwinds coach. Her name is Maribel Hernandez. She has an undergraduate degree from ASU in flute performance, and she heads up our woodwinds. We have a brass coach. His name is Ivan De La Cruz, who is a veteran teacher. He's an 18-year teacher coming to us from the Woodlands High School in Texas, where he was a band director. He's moved around a bit with his wife, and they moved here a year and a half ago to the West Side, and we were so happy to have him on our team. He's in the educational circles, he's a big deal. So a big deal in the band director world because he was a band director at a national champion program, the Woodlands. So very, very happy that he's here. Our guard director, Ashley, incredible, moved here to be the guard director here at Mountain Ridge. So just moved right across Thunderbird Park from us, and has been teaching color guard for just under the last 15 years at a number of schools, Desert Vista High School in Ahwatukee, and before that at Millennium. So this is now, she's entering her third year with the program. Todd Betts, who is the oldest member of our staff, he's over the hill, and he is fantastic. He is an orchestrally trained percussionist. His day job is the orchestral manager for the Phoenix Youth Symphony Orchestras, and he's originally from Florida. We have 2 student teachers this year from NAU, Corey Winslow for the first 8 weeks and Patrick Joyce for the second 8. We also have a number of staff. So under Todd's leadership, we have 3 percussion staff members that help with the marching band. Roberto Paz is his name, and he is the percussion director at ASU. So he's the percussion director for ASU Marching Band. Jacob Lugo, who is getting an undergraduate degree in music education in percussion at ASU, and Sal Rodriguez, who is a teacher in the Isaac School District. He's a middle school teacher, and his involvement in the Mountain Ridge Band gives him that opportunity to work with high-performing high school students. Our guard staff led by Ashley, that's her brother, Adam Selby, and then Gabe Castillo is in his last year of an MFA in dance education at ASU. So will be a dance teacher, hopefully in our district when he graduates. We also have band staff that comes in during the school day. And one of the reasons I have this part in this particular meeting is just to talk about what the parents in the community support in terms of the program, and then what our district supports. So our district is very supportive of me. I'm very happy. This is now my 5th year here as the band director of Mountain Ridge. It's gone really well. It's just been a great program to be a part of, and it's to be really honest and really frank, it's one of just a few programs that I knew about by name when I moved here now 8 years ago. I moved from Colorado. Before I made the move down, I knew of the Mountain Ridge Band. I knew of the Dobson Band. I knew of the Desert Vista Band. And that was my short list. So when this job became open, it's something that I and a number of folks wanted to move into. So really supportive in terms of the district. Our feeder schools are fantastic. In terms of the finances, the district supports me and my salary, and the district gives us a small $3,600 M&O budget, which is to be spent on registrations or music and that sort of thing. But $3,600 will cover a few of our registrations in the fall, and then that's it after that. So the band staff, all the names that I'm listing here, are the folks that are supported by you and by the parents of the band. And they're involved, very, very involved in the program. So even during the school day, we have 3 individuals, Mr. De La Cruz, Mr. Betts, and Mr. Chaffee, that will come in during the school day and give the students specific instrumental techniques on their instrument. We divide into smaller groups. That was really important this year with the pandemic, so that we could keep the distancing guidelines. And they also do a one-on-one instruction. We have large concert bands here. So my largest class next year is almost 80 students in that freshman concert band. And so this gives us a chance to break them into smaller groups. I'll take the students here in the band room. Mr. De La Cruz will take folks out into the auditorium, and also to do one-on-one instruction. So it's not just one teacher and 80 students, where we can just do those one-on-ones, sometimes based on their instrument, maybe fixing an instrument. Sometimes it's just, as a high school student may need an adult to just give them a one-on-one. So that's what we do. Ivan De La Cruz, Todd Betts on percussion, and then Clark Chaffee. This is our new, as of last year, orchestra coach. He's a string specialist, retired orchestra director from the Chicagoland area. He comes to us 1 day a week. We also have instrumental coaches and small ensembles. This has been a huge sense of pride for our program, and I want you to encourage your students to get involved with this. This is both, I see a lot of freshmen and senior parents and junior parents. Whether your folks have been a part of this in the past or not, we want to encourage you to do that. So on flute, it's Michelle Stolper. She has a master's in flute performance from Indiana University. It's one of the country's best music schools, and she's a Mountain Ridge alum. Fantastic flute teacher, and she runs a flute choir once a week after school, where it's just her and then all the flutes, flute, and then also the alto flute and the bass flute. So we have a full choir of flutes, and just once a week, and we want to encourage your kids to be involved with that. We have a clarinet coach. Her name is Katrina Clements, and it's Dr. Katrina Clements. She has a doctorate in clarinet performance and pedagogy from ASU. She teaches our full clarinet choir, all the way from the E-flat clarinet down to the contrabass clarinet, which is as tall as I am. Her husband, who inadvertently was left off the list, he's our trumpet coach, and his name is Spencer Brandt, who just completed his master's in trumpet performance from ASU. Our saxophone coach is Jaya Garado. He also teaches the online academy for music, the DVOLP, that you may have heard a lot about this last year. He's the music teacher for the district's online school. New to us this year is Robert Peterson on trombone. We're starting up a trombone choir, and he is just entering a master's degree in trombone performance and pedagogy from ASU. Our tuba euphonium coach is Kevin Bach. He teaches, he's the professor of tuba and euphonium. That is an actual title at GCC and GCU. So his day job is teaching the tuba and euphonium students at the college, and then also teaches our students here. And then percussion, Todd Betts, and he runs a small percussion ensemble after school. So have your folks get involved with these small ensembles. It's a great way to connect with, a fantastic adult musician, and also to connect with their section and the other students. We do have an online registration, so I'd like you to take a moment to fill this out. This was completed if you were here in person earlier today, but we'd like the folks also on the call to do that. If you're not familiar with how to do this, you can just aim your phone at the screen, and it'll work so that you can fill out this particular online registration. If one of the parents could drop the link in the chat, that works too. I don't know if I can do that while I'm doing the screen sharing, but that would work really, really, really well as well. I'll see if I can do that while I'm in the back here, because I can't see the chat. Okay, and that's great. Thank you. Callum's dad, I'll just put that particular link in the chat. Appreciate that. Okay, so just take a moment, you know, after the meeting, just to fill that out. There's a lot of particulars that we need to know. This really just helps us when we're trying to contact everyone, that we have your most up-to-date contact information, and helps so that our parent volunteers don't have to type in everything that you put in that yellow registration form. Next thing that we want to go through on here is just the band handbook. So there's a 27-page band handbook. It's on the website. The website is mrhsband.net, and there is a resource page there where you can look at all the forms that were passed out this morning and all the forms from this meeting. And we want to have everyone in the program, both current students and incoming students, current parents and incoming parents, just take a moment to read through the band handbook. It is a read. It takes a bit of investment of time, but it really should be the first stop for everyone. So many policies and expectations are out there. And it took a while to create that over the course of my career. And we've really tried to dial in what the best practices are for our program. So take a moment to read that if you could. Okay. I'm going to click here on the next thing on how you can find that online. This is just a screenshot from our band website. And then if you click on resources and then click on forms, you'll be able to access all the forms that we're speaking of. Okay. Communication. So we try to communicate really well. We have a limited amount of contact information from our feeder middle schools. So we worked with our registrar, with the band directors to try to get registration for different folks that are going through email. So that is a way that we'll do that. We use a program that's called Charms. There's a login there that's called the Mountain Ridge Band. What we use Charms for primarily is as a financial accounting program. So students can have a ledger so that they can see where they are in terms of paying for trips or for fees. We also use Charms in particular to manage our volunteer database. So there's a way that you can sign up to volunteer for events using Charms. It's just a bit more streamlined and a bit more stable than, let's say, like a Sign Up Genius. So that's the Charms that we use. Our school district also uses Canvas. So for folks that are coming in new to the district, Canvas is our online school. It's all the teachers' assignments. There's announcements through there. Teachers can grade and evaluate students. And most of the teachers on this campus were using Canvas prior to March of 2020. Since March of 2020, every single teacher on this campus, including this one, we're all using Canvas regularly. So parents, we ask that you sign up as an observer of all your students' classes. That way you can see everything that's due for the class. When are their due dates? What have they turned in? What have they not turned in? And see where they're doing. One word of caution on that in terms of Canvas, while the program computes a grade, so it actually gives a percentage of the assignments that they turned in. That is not the student's actual grade that will appear on their grade, their report card, so to speak. Those are all through Power Schools. So the Power Schools grade is the official grade for the course at the time, and Canvas is the way in which students turn in assignments and projects and discussions. I'll pause here just for a second, just maybe get a thumbs up from the folks who are on, making sure you guys can still hear me okay and can still see the screen, the communication screen. Wonderful. Fanfare. So we do send out an email. This week was rare, in which I was sending out multiple emails through the week. In a typical week, we try to send out one email a week, and it's the fanfare. We send that out every Sunday night or early on Monday morning, and it's just our week at a glance. Take a moment. This is for students and for parents to actually read through the fanfare. I know myself, our editor, parent volunteer, Heidi Zinn, we spend a lot of time working through to make sure that we get the most up-to-date information on that there's links to anything that you need for the week. So take a moment and read through that each week. It helps out a ton. Slack. So for Slack, this is a program that we use on our phones. And at Mountain Ridge High School, teachers should not be texting students. I should say probably at any high school in the country. We don't want our adults, our staff members, the coaches that are here, the teachers, myself, Students should not be texting teachers as a safety thing. What our district has rolled out is that we use the program Slack because the messages are not blind. So I, as an administrator on the program, well, we have our actual administrators as administrators on Slack. They can see every message, whether it's a direct, quote unquote, private message or not. That way we can keep kids safe. So we want everyone in the program, this is parents and students, to join Slack. Here's giving me another opportunity where you can do a QR code. If I could have another parent, if they can drop that in the chat also, that would be great. And you just need to scan the QR code to join if you haven't done so already. And so we'll just take a moment here so you can go through that process. And hopefully it'll show up here in the chat in a moment too. I don't yet see it in the chat, so I am going to try to put that in there for you. Give me 1 second. Okay, and I just put the Slack link. If you're on a computer, then you can directly click on that particular link. What we're going to ask for folks to do is to use the Slack program. Like I said, that's the best way that we can communicate with kids and with other adults. You can communicate with other folks in the program that way, and it helps us learn all the new kids. We had just over 65 freshmen here today just for our program. So it helps us learn them. What we're going to ask for you and for your children to do is just to update your profile. After you get added in, you'll add a picture. That way we can see what everyone looks like. For students, they're going to put their grade level and their section. So it would be, senior trumpet Shelby Long is the example I used from earlier. For parents, you're going to put that you're the parent of your student's name. Now that particular indication, that's not for your display name. Your display name can be your first and last name. But in the profile, when you're editing your profile, there's going to be a what you do in the organization. And so for mine, I put band director. For my wife, she put wife of the band director. For a parent of a sousaphone player, it would just say, parent of Noah Harris. That way, sometimes the last names don't match. That way we know who everyone is. And that's in the what you do section. And I can hear on my Slack, it's pinging. So I can tell that you're jumping in. So that's great. We'd also ask that you put in your cell phone and email address in the profile. This just helps us get in contact with you really quickly in case of an emergency. So accidents do happen, injuries happen, certainly with our activity as in any club or sport on our campus. And this will help us be in contact with you. If your child is injured on a band trip or gets sick or has an allergic reaction, we will make the call. We will call you immediately. It just helps us to be able to go onto Slack and click on your number rather than going through our binder of 200 medical forms and flipping through and finding it and locating you that way. So appreciate you guys taking a moment to go through Slack in this way. A few other ways that we communicate in terms of the program. We do have a Facebook page, Mountain Ridge High School Band. We have a Ridge Roadies page, which is our private group for that. You can request to be added to that. It's only for band parents. We have a Twitter handle, MRHS Band AZ or Bands AZ. The YouTube site, I just want to very much encourage that you check that one out. The students are fantastic, and just listening to the performances over the year, I think you'll really, really enjoy. And then, of course, my email. So my email is aaron.vogel@dvosd.org. The best way to get a question answered immediately is if you'll Slack one of the other band parents on the Slack program. With my job, as you can quite imagine, I'm not a desk worker. I'm not sitting here in the band office as I am today speaking to you. I'm out in the room. I'm conducting. I'm on the podium. And so I will not see an email from you throughout the day. I sometimes will see a Slack message throughout the day and I can more quickly respond. So if you have a question that you need from me in particular, send me a message in Slack and I can answer it for you. But if you ask that question to a band parent, like if you ask Lisa Best, she'll respond to you right away, our band booster president. Or if you ask Heidi's in, hey, I'm not sure what's happening here in the band, she'll be able to respond to you much, much quicker than I can, just because of the nature of my job. Another person on the team that we want to just recommend that you reach out to are our band leadership team members. The band leadership team students at Mountain Ridge are our models of excellence. They have gone through the program. They're all upperclassmen, juniors and seniors. They recently completed a 4-month training process to become a band leadership team member. So they met once a week, were trained on leadership. We did a book study. They had an application process, and they really went through the ringer to try to be the absolute best student leader that they could be. We call those our drum majors. Those are our 3 students who actually conduct the band and our performances, our section leaders and captains, and then our field assistants, which would be our assistant section leaders. And we call all of those our BLT. Getting to know by name the name of your child's section leader or captain or BLT member is really, really key, because that's going to be a person that you want to go to with, and your student is going to want to go to with the majority of their questions. And they're just fantastic students. Let's talk about the calendar. So there is an online link on the website where you can get to the calendar. We use a Google Calendar. So our recommendation here is that you add it to your particular online calendar, however you access that. So for me, I have it on my phone. That way the calendar dates for the band appear automatically. We've set the schedule now a year in advance. So all the dates for the calendar are really more or less set, but sometimes there'll be changes, especially on our performance shows. We don't get the actual show schedule until a couple weeks before, let's say, a Saturday competition. So the times may be in flux. If you subscribe to that MRHS band calendar and then go through the way to get that on your mobile device, then you'll have the most up-to-date one. Okay. I put this here in orange. Earlier this morning, we passed out forms in a big green folder. For the folks that are on the call, if you're familiar with the Zoom, or even if you're a newbie, there's a way that you can do a thumbs up. So I'm just going to look over here, and if you have the forms that I'm speaking about in the green folder, if you'll just do a thumbs up in your particular message, so I can see who has those. Okay, so maybe only a few of us. So I'm going to explain where these forms are, and then how to get the paper copies, and then also how to get the digitized copies. We have green folders for every single student in the band that have pre-copied out all the different forms that I'm going to be going through today. They are going to be situated in the front office at Mountain Ridge High School. The office is open from 7 until 3:30. You can just stop by and say that you're an incoming band parent and you'd like one of the green folders, and they will give you one. The semester at a glance calendar is just on orange paper. That's why I have it in this particular way up in orange. If you'd like to look at any of these particular forms, if you go onto the band website and you go into the resources and the forms link, then that will tell you exactly where you'll have a PDF copy. So for me and my family, we're all about the fridge. Like I put up that orange semester at a glance calendar on my own fridge. The way the calendar works is we have what's called IYITs. Today, we had a band rehearsal, and then our next rehearsal for the band won't be until July 13th. Some of the sections will meet here on campus and they'll do sectionals. Some of the sections will be doing small events at other students' houses. All of these are all IYIT, or if you're in town. We certainly hope that parents take advantage of the summer months to travel, to get out of the heat. And we, over the summer, have a very loose attendance policy. If you're in town or IYIT, we expect you to be here. If you're not, enjoy. And we totally understand that. Our color guard, and our percussion sections tend to have more events here on campus between now and July 13th. Our woodwinds and our brass would tend to have more events at student houses, but they're all if you're in town. On July 13th, for For the brass and for the woodwinds, we'll also have an event here, very relaxed, 4 o'clock for the woodwinds, 6 o'clock for the brass, just a 2-hour sectional where we can just get the students playing together again after the summer of playing individually. We do have a newbie camp. The newbie camp isn't if you're in town, but for the newbies. So this is for my current 9th and 8th graders and their section leaders. This date we would like you to mark down and make every attempt to be there. It's a great way for us to try to get the new students up to speed and do that before we go off to band camp, July 17th, Saturday morning, a much shorter event than what we did today, but just to really see if we can get the new kids up to speed. And then we have our band camp, which is July 24th to 28th. The way our band camp works is we have a drop off here at the school in between 7 and 8 a.m. We have a parent meeting where we'll go through all the rules and regulations of what the band camp is. And then the students will be on a bus going up to Prescott to take really in the full scope of the band. What most parents have done historically is they either will, come to the school on July the 24th, and then they will be joining us up in Prescott as a chaperone, and usually there's in between 20 and 30 parents who do that. For the other 360 parents of the students in the band program, they drop their kids off on July 24th. They come to the parent meeting to learn why they might have to pick up their kid at band camp, and then they have the week off and they can enjoy the 24th to the 28th with one less kid. And we will take the kids off your hands for that time for that. On July 28th, what the vast majority of the parents do is they come up to Prescott to the Pine Summit camp where we are, and they watch a performance of the high school band. We will play this music from the show. The students will perform our national anthem, our school fight song, and we'll perform the drill or the staging that we've learned up to that point for the band parents. So the vast majority of the band parents come up and watch their students. So that is a Wednesday. So just note that if you have to request time off of work, they'll come up, they watch their students perform, the kids check out of their dorms, and then they spend the day in Prescott and head home. We do run a bus both ways, but we run 4 buses up the hill and then typically only 1 bus back because the majority of parents come up and watch their kid on the 28th. For the fall season, once we're back in school, we do rehearse the band in the evenings. It's Tuesday and Thursday evenings from 6 to 9. It's one of the great opportunities as a parent. We have open rehearsals starting at 8:30 in the evening. So when you come to Mountain Ridge, you park in the parking lot, you can actually walk into the stadium and watch your student perform that final portion of the rehearsal. At 8:30, we typically do a run through of the program in between 8:45 and 8:50. And then the kids are dismissed at 9 to clean up, go back to the band room. We also will have, right now we have 1 mini camp scheduled. So this is on the Friday and Saturday before our first competition, just to make sure we're really set for that. That's a mini camp on Friday night when the football team is away, and then on Saturday night when it's cool and we have access to the stadium. We do Friday night performances, or 5 of them. Those are the 5 football games. And then we also do competitions. Our season runs from October the 2nd, which is the first Saturday in October, until the Saturday before Thanksgiving, which I think this year is on the 17th of November. It's a 7-week season. We do have a bye week on that, and that bye week is the second week. That's October the 9th, and that's the day of the beginning of our fall break. So if you're planning travel at all for the fall break, you will not have a conflict with anything in band. We are not going to be running any practices or any performances over the fall break time. But we'd ask that you make sure that your student is here in Glendale on the first Saturday in October, really the last Saturday in September for our mini camp day and weekend, all the way through until the Saturday before Thanksgiving, so that they don't miss out on any of the content. Rehearsal attendance. This one I do each year here, but it doesn't take a marching band director with 20 years of experience to spot which student is not at rehearsal. It's really clear out there on the field who's not at rehearsal. And of course, that person misses the information. If this was a math class, then this particular student would be missing the information, and the other individuals, the 8 folks sitting in front of them in their desks or sitting on the side, it would not affect them at all, because it's math, and they're not doing collective projects. They're just working on their own thing. However, in our organization, those are the 8 people that are actually affected by that. If we make a change in a show where now we've added in a halt and the students are standing still for a while, and the kid who missed out on rehearsal is then forward marching right into the kid behind them, it's an injury accident. And so we want to avoid that by having folks, and this is every person at rehearsal. Band is a class here at Mountain Ridge that has a grade, and there's academic credit. Students have graduation credit for taking band. We take attendance at every rehearsal, and we can't teach folks that aren't there. So just realize that attendance is something we really want to preach. Every minute of every rehearsal, being early, everything that we do. And because you're not the only one that's affected by the absence, if you're not there, then you aren't performing in the competition or the Friday night football game, just as a safety factor. So you're not running down through someone else because a change was made in the show. Of course, things will come up if you absolutely cannot attend or you'll be late. The students will send a direct message on Slack to their section leader, to Drake Zinn, who's our senior drum major. He handles the attendance for the band, and then to myself. That way we know where kids are. I'm a parent myself, and I don't want to have a situation where I don't know where my child is for 4 hours. So if you drop off your student at 5:30, and we don't have a message knowing where they are, and then at 9:30 you come and pick them up, then that's a 4-hour span where they're unaccounted for, and that's a safety issue. So when students aren't there, if a student doesn't show up at 6 o'clock, we call. We'll call home and say, hey, Jimmy's not here tonight. Is everything okay with Jimmy? And then one of the answers will be yes. We know he's at this thing. We'll talk about the communication ahead of time, or it'll be like, no, I dropped off Jimmy. Where is he? So we really, really want to make sure that everyone is on board with being at attendance in our rehearsals, and then if they cannot be there or something's come up, that they message us and they let us know. We have an understudy policy at Mountain Ridge. So like I said, we had about 175 students here today. We usually will write the drill for some number less, maybe 165. And that means that there's going to be some sections where there's more people than spots. Certainly not like a basketball team where there's 5 people playing at a time. We'll have 165 performing students at a time, but there may be a spot where students are sharing a spot. We call those understudies or alternates. Sometimes we call that a shadow, because as we're moving through the drill, if you have 5 students, not sure if you can see me here or not, but there may be 2 students that are actually marching next to each other, literally like a shadow when we're doing some of our practices. And then when it comes time to a performance, student A may march the show on Friday night, but then student B might march the show on Saturday night. So our idea for that is to get everyone into the show as long as they're safe out there and they can perform the show successfully, and that they would be worked into the full performance as their skills develop. Band camp in Prescott. So we go up the hill, like I said, on July 24th to 28th. The main reason is just to get out of the heat, but we also get a chance to just learn the show. We learn the marching show. We work on our fundamentals and we bond as a group. There's times where the students can bond with meal times, class colors, and skit days. What to bring and that basic itinerary is included in the handouts that here I passed out earlier today in the lobby. Those copies are for you in the Mountain Ridge front office and also available on our website. In order to go to band camp, you have to turn in a yellow medical form. In fact, I would say most of our students turned that in today. These were mailed home about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. If you have not received the yellow medical form, we will make sure that those are included in the paperwork that you can pick up at the front office at Mountain Ridge. And that's our district's clearance in order for you to be able to travel with the band throughout the season. There is a cost there. It's $60 a day or $300 per student. And that's all in on the camp. So it includes our transportation up and back, the actual camp accommodations, the food, the adult staff, the camp shirt, and that. Our district requires that students and their parents check in all medication, even over-the-counter medication. So we do that on the first Saturday of the camp, the only Saturday of the camp, July 24th, right at 7 o'clock in the auditorium lobby. which is where the check-in was today for our event. And we do have chaperones that are needed. Like I said, we usually take it between 20 and 30 chaperones. You must have completed the DVUSD volunteer training at least once in the last 3 years. We are running that here on Monday and Tuesday. I'll send out the link tomorrow for that event if you'd like to attend that. And that can count as your volunteer training. We'd like to have everyone certainly trained in volunteering. And then if you're chaperoning on a overnight or out-of-state trip, you have to have level 1 fingerprint clearance card. If you've done that through our school district, you're good to go. If you have the physical card, you're good to go. If you do not yet have that, the timeline is very abbreviated for that. Really having between now and the end of the month to go through that process, because it usually takes 5, 6, 7 weeks to do that, and we're only, I think, maybe 8 or 9 weeks out from our band camp. So we do require that for our students and their safety. Fair share. We have a fair share obligation, which is the cost of the program divided up amongst the students and their parents to the program. A program of this caliber, maybe if you were here earlier in the call, you heard me talk about it a little bit, but this is a nationally recognized band program, with performances on the national stage. We're the current state champion in marching band in Arizona in the highest division. And running that kind of program does not come cheaply. The district, while they're very, very supportive, they do not provide funds for the vast majority of our operating expenses. They pay for me, and they give us a $3,600 operating expense budget, which would not cover the music that we use in the fall show, just as an example. So the way that we still operate a program at this level is we assess a fair share payment. This can be a tax credit, and it covers every single thing that the district does. So all of the staff, except for myself that you saw listed, the design of the drill, the choreography, the equipment that we use, the music, registration, the awards that we had last night for the band awards, all the transportation. The district's not covering our transportation to the majority of our events this year. So it covers all the buses for all the kids. And of course, with a group of our size, every time we roll out of the lot, it's with 4 buses and a couple trailers, usually a few rental trucks, vans. It's a traveling circus in a way, but we do take a huge group on the road when we roll out. In terms of the fair share, what the vast majority of our parents do is they use the tax credit account, which is a dollar for dollar account, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. If you're not, this is a real helpful thing in the state of Arizona, where you can just dictate to the state where $400 of your family's tax credits are going. So $200 for you and a spouse. What many of our parents do is they contribute a tax credit, and then they find one other family to do the same. And that covers all the band fees for the year. This year in particular, if you haven't yet used your 2020 tax credit, you can do that up until Monday because of the delay in the filing deadline for the state and federal taxes. And then you can also do next year's. So you could, in your family, if you haven't yet used a 2020 tax credit, you can do that, and that money will be then refunded to you by the government if you're owed money back, or it just comes out of the amount of money that you would owe in tax. We do have a payment schedule and late fees to keep folks on there. We're not allowed to go into the red in our account from the school district, and a lot of it is front loaded. A lot of our expenses up front. And we also will not, we're not going to turn anyone away because they have a financial need. It's not a pay to play. Every student who wants to be a part of the program, regardless of the finances of the folks, can contribute and can be a part of our program. What our district asks is that you fill out a financial assistance application. There's a copy on our website and here in person in the band room, and just send to me. It'll be completely confidential, and we'll work out a plan, either through a scholarship or a payment plan. And we do have scholarships that are available that were passed on from parents who put in extra tax credits or wanted to pay into that scholarship account. So if you're in a position then also where you are able to help us out with scholarships, that would be great, because we do award a number of scholarships each year. In the packet of forms, there's a green form. It's kind of a lime color, and that's just a membership contract that talks through the financial and the behavioral obligations of the students. All of those things are all due on the first day of band camp, or on the 24th. A few additional costs. we do wear a uniform. The district has purchased new marching band uniforms for us for this year, but they don't purchase the shoes. So everyone wears the same shoes there. The brass and the woodwind students wear uniform gloves. All the students will need long black socks that come up halfway through their legs so that it's a uniform color on the bottom. And then we use what's called a flip folder and a lyre to hold music in the bleachers when we're playing in a football game. For our color guard will have a custom uniform that's designed for our marching show, which comes out of the fair share obligation. So there's no additional cost to that. Our color guard will also have a Friday night uniform, which is really like a spirit line uniform. We have an inventory of those, so also there's not a cost for that. But because it does get quite cold at the end of our season, and those spirit line outfits and the outfits for the marching show sometimes aren't very thick, the students wear warm-ups for that. So the form to fill that out, it's a blue form. The warm-ups, the equipment bag, gloves, and shoes for the guard, or for the students in the band, those forms are all due on July the 24th. Okay? There's some other needs. Again, in the packet of paper forms, this is kind of on a darker green color, and it's just the materials and supplies list of all the things that you might need to play your instrument. Reeds, what kind of mouthpiece to get. Students need a water bottle. We're such a big organization, we don't run a bubbler system like the teams might, where there's just water fountains going on. Every student has their own water bottle with a group of nearly 200 students. And we recommend that students use the gallon variety one. So it's just a gallon water bottle. For lessons, if you can invest in your child in a really quality instrument and an individual lesson with an adult, this is going to be one of the maybe best things you can do for your student while they're in the high school age. Research has shown that kids taking musical lessons are outperforming their peers on every standardized test, higher GPAs, higher ACT tests. And we believe in it so strongly as a program that we have had parents, current parents of the program, that have started a scholarship fund to make that available for folks if a financial need is there. So we really want to encourage folks to be in the private teacher program. I believe in the folks that we've listed on that list, and I would trust them with my own daughter and my own son, and they are there to help you as a parent. Going through the high school age, the students can be all over the map in terms of their emotions and their motivations and what's happening. And this is just an adult that can be a really helpful mentor to your child, not only on their instrument, but just in their lives as they're navigating through becoming an adult. And getting those sort of lessons, especially set up for your first year in the program, will just enable that the students have that mentor, they have the right techniques on the instrument, and they can succeed. In terms of the actual instruments, we do have instruments. We checked out, over 60 instruments this morning. We do have a limited supply of school instruments that are available here. Just like the instruments at home, we ask the students to treat them with a ton of care, to clean them, to always constantly maintain them. We don't want metal on metal, just like in your car. It has to be oiled and greased. And then instruments that are not cared for, we actually will take from the student. Instruments that are not cleaned, we will be assessing a cleaning fee. So a few things in terms of what's expected here. For the band parents, just an understanding of the program expectations. Read through the band handbook so you can see exactly what we're looking for there. Paying the fees on time, and then supplying the necessary items that you need. Having a communication with both your student, talking to your child, asking them about how the day went, how did the camp go today, what's happening, what's due for school in general, and having a really supportive staff, not just towards me, but towards our organization as a whole, towards the other students and the other band parents, and just to avoid some of the things that maybe we see on social media in our current culture with rumors and gossip and negative posts. Our organizational rules on Slack and what we ask and teach for the students, I think, is really, really important, which is that before they post anything on social media or in Slack, they just have to answer in the affirmative. Is it true? Is it nice? Is it necessary? Wouldn't it be nice if every single person in our society, before they posted something, would say, hey, is it true? Is it nice? And is it necessary? And then to not do that. For your children, we're trying to protect them here while they're at school. And you've all, as I have seen news stories about someone who posted something that wasn't true, wasn't nice, wasn't necessary, and that is a millstone around their neck going forward into college, where folks are getting pulled from their college acceptance. We are going to teach digital literacy to the students and ask for your support in that, in modeling the correct behavior for posting. Band parents, what else is expected is transportation to and from events, so to and from the practices. Coordinate with the other band parents to work out carpools and different ride shares. There are 180 cars that will be coming here every single Tuesday and Thursday night and then picking up. Be an audience member where possible. Go to the run-throughs at the end of the practices. Go to the football games. Support the football team. We want them to be successful. Support the band. Support Spirit Line. Go to the competitions that are on Saturdays. Go to our concerts. Stay informed by reading the fanfare, and then volunteer. This is a huge organization. We run a ton of events on our campus, and we need volunteers at almost everything that we do. We run every concession event on campus for every single sport, football, volleyball, basketball, track. We're running all the concessions for that, so we need a lot of workers for concessions. We run a show this year, it's on October the 16th, called Rock the Ridge, where there'll be 30 high school bands that are performing on campus at Mountain Ridge. That's an all hands on deck. We need every single parent to be doing some volunteer effort in that. And then we also are the manpower, our parent organization is the manpower for the state championship, which is held at GCC. This one usually runs up over 200 volunteers. So it is a huge community effort to run that particular event. And while those take a lot of volunteer and a lot of man hours, they also provide us with a significant amount of funding so that we can keep the fair share where it currently is. Because the Rock the Ridge event, we sell tickets and we sell concessions and we sell programs. And at the Voda Championships, we sell food, we sell concessions. And obviously at concessions, we sell that. So these are the business of the band. And it goes a huge way in making sure that we can do the kinds of things that will make your students successful in the program. The different forms. So in that green packet or online, there's a medical form, must complete that. Please turn that in as soon as you possibly can before school's out. The tax credit forms, those are always on pink. The contract is lime. This one, I want to just recommend that everyone takes a moment to do this. If you shop at Fry's Gas, Fry's grocery store, you can link up your phone number or your key tag with our organization, and Fry's sends us checks once a month, and it doesn't require any work other than scanning your tag or putting your phone number when you check out. You just have to link that to our organization, so that's on the red form. And then we have the order forms in blue, both for the guard and for the bands. What's next here? Turning in the forms, in particular that yellow medical form, starting to arrange for the payments of fees or filling out a financial assistance application. And then for the students, we passed out a lot of music today. It's all scanned in and I'll have a digital copy for them. Students are expected to take that music, remove the staple, and then put it into page protectors in a 3-ring binder, and then just begin to practice. The summer is a great time for them to get in shape for this activity, both musically through playing every day, building endurance through long tones and slow and correct practice, and then also getting physically in shape for this activity. We often say that this is like a sport. It's not a sport. We're not competing against anyone else in that way, but it does require more physical endurance, more physical strength, more stamina than it would be to say just sitting and playing your instrument. So having that physical conditioning in terms of the students and what they're doing over the summer, having a diet that's going to be conducive for them being very active is very helpful. And just having them be stronger, even just physically holding the instrument up for an allotment of time is really helpful. And then our season starts.